welcome back to my channel, or for those of you who are watching for the first time, welcome to my channel. On this channel, I create videos about the college and graduate school application processes so that you guys know everything you need in order to get into the schools of your dreams. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about 10 things that you should do during high school to ensure that you're successful during the college application process. A lot of students think that they can just start applying to college during their senior year of high school and not really do much to prepare for it before then. And that is absolutely wrong. In fact, during your freshman year of high school is when you really should be starting to think about the college application process. You should start thinking about the things you're doing and how the things you do during high school will set you up to be a successful college applicant. And so I hope that this video will help you guys see some things you should be doing during high school so that when it does come time to apply to college, you'll be ready. My first suggestion is challenge yourself academically. Now, it can be really tempting to take the easiest classes in high school because then, you'll do well in them and your GPA will be high and that looks really good, right? But the fact of the matter is college admissions officers want to see that you've challenged yourself during high school. They want to see evidence of academic rigor because the fact of the matter is college classes are really difficult and they want to make sure that you're actually capable of the rigor involved in taking college classes. And so taking the easiest classes in your high school isn't really going to show them that, but rather pushing yourself and maybe taking some IB or AP classes would be a really good way to prove to them that you really can handle more difficult material. My second suggestion is be unique. There are two ways to be a really successful college applicant. You can either do the same things everyone else is doing and just do them better, or you can just do different things that everyone else is doing. A lot of students try really hard to do the same exact things that all their classmates are doing, and it's really difficult to end up shining in such a situation because you're battling against everyone else who has very similar applications to you. However, if you instead choose a more unique path, it's going to be a lot easier to stand out and shine. So when you're thinking about what kind of extracurriculars to do during high school, don't just automatically think of the same things all your friends are doing. Instead, think if you have passions or interests that are really outside of the box, and if you do, great. Absolutely pursue those, and you'll find that it's much easier to stand out when it comes time to apply to college. My next suggestion is show commitment. It's really tempting to start a club in freshman year and then you're like, actually, this is kind of boring, and then do different things during sophomore year and then kind of lose interest in junior year. And if you do that, your application is going to be really scattered. It's going to be like, all right, I did these clubs for 1 year, I did these clubs for 6 months, I did this. And college admissions officers are looking for long-term commitment. And so when you're choosing activities to do starting your freshman year of high school, think if those are really things that you can see yourself doing for the next 4 years. Because while you definitely don't have to do everything for 4 years, it is helpful to have some activities that you've done long-term. And so be mindful of that when choosing different clubs and activities to take part in. My next suggestion is make sure you check all the boxes. Colleges are notorious for saying, it doesn't matter what you do as long as you're doing what you love, blah, blah, blah. But the fact of the matter is college admissions officers are looking for some specific things in your application. You should have some evidence of leadership skills throughout your application. Maybe you were the president of some club in high school, or maybe you were the team captain of your sports team. That is totally sufficient, but it's important that you have some sort of leadership. And similarly, it's important that you have some sort of community service. Whether you volunteered through a club or maybe you and your family worked through your church at a soup kitchen. Whatever it is, it's just important that you do have those leadership and community service boxes checked because colleges do look for that in your application. My next suggestion is establish relationships with some of your teachers. You need to submit between 1 to 3 letter of recommendations from your teachers for college. And if you have never really talked to any of your teachers outside of class, they might not be able to write you the best letter of recommendations. And so let's say you've loved your chemistry teacher, you love the style they teach in, and you're really interested in the material they're talking about. Stay after class, ask for their help on studying, or, perhaps just talk about other topics relating to chemistry that are broader than the scope of the class. Just get to know your teachers a little more than just listening to them during class, because that will help ensure that they'll be able to write you strong letters of recommendation when it comes time to apply to college. My next suggestion is tell a story with your application. When you go to apply to college, it's really ideal if your application can feel like a cohesive message about who you are as a person. Because then when the admission officers goes to read your application, they're really going to be able to envision who you are and how you'll fit into their upcoming class. And so at the beginning of high school, start thinking about the image that you want to reflect in your application. Do you want to be someone who's really service-minded? If so, you might want to do extracurriculars that involve serving other people, working in a soup kitchen or, volunteering in a homeless shelter. Or let's say maybe you're someone who just loves science. Maybe then you'll try to be the president of the science club at your school and, you'll conduct research through a summer research internship. And so it's important that you think about the image you want to project and then choose activities to do during high school that enable you to actually project that image to admissions officers. My next suggestion is prepare for your standardized tests. Depending on where you're applying to college, you might be taking the SAT, the ACT, and/or SAT subject tests. And a lot of students are like, well, I'll just go the day of the test, I'll just take the test, it can't be that hard, right? I'm reading essays and answering math questions. But the scores you get on standardized tests really do have a big influence on the schools you ultimately get accepted to. And so it's important that you study properly for these tests. Whether for you that means reading through a test prep book or taking online test prep classes. So figure out how you best study, figure out how you're best going to learn the material you need in order to take those tests, but make sure you put your full effort into it, because a really high score on an ACT or an SAT or an SAT subject test could be the difference between an acceptance and a rejection to the college that you want to go to. My next suggestion is spend your summers wisely. It can be super tempting after a long school year to just stay home, lounge in your bed, watch Netflix, text your friends, and go to the movies. But the fact of the matter is, it's really important that you use your summertime wisely, whether that's getting a part-time job, whether that's applying for some academic summer program, or some research internship at a college or university near your house. Try to do things during the summer that are constructive and productive, because that's really going to help your application shine amongst your fellow applicants. My next suggestion is visit colleges early. So many students wait until the spring of their junior year to even look at any colleges in the US. However, I think it's good to get a head start on that as early into high school as possible. If you have some schools you're thinking about going to, go with your parents and go visit them. See what you like about those schools and see what you don't like about those schools. Because applying to schools that really fit you is really, really important, but it's hard to know what schools actually fit you unless you go and visit them. And so instead of having to cram in 1,000,000 college visits in a really short period of time, I think doing that throughout high school can be really helpful for you, both as a source of motivation to actually try in high school, but also as a way to define what's important to you in a college. And my final suggestion to you is sample different careers during high school. There are a lot of colleges that have specific niches, whether they're really good at liberal arts or really good at tech. And so it's helpful if you have some idea of what you actually want to do with your life before applying to colleges so that you can apply to colleges that best fit you. And so figuring that out might involve working part-time or interning with someone who's involved in the field you might be interested in. Or perhaps you're going to go volunteer in a hospital and kind of watch what the doctors and nurses do there. At the end of the day, it's just important that you give some thought to what you want your end career to look like, because that's going to have a huge influence on what your college admissions journey looks like. And so I hope those 10 tips were helpful. I hope now you guys feel like you have a little bit more clarity about what to actually do during high school to make sure that you are the strongest possible applicant when it comes time to apply to college. If you guys have any questions at all about applying to college, maybe you're a freshman in high school and want to make sure that you're doing the right thing, please either comment on this video or send me an email. My email's in the description box, and I'll get back to you guys as quickly as possible. If you guys learned anything at all from this video, be sure to don't lick anything. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel for more tips and tricks about the college application process. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.